For the best experience, I recommend using headphones. This story happened when I was just a kid, 7 years old maybe. But I remember that night like it happened yesterday. Every detail is burned into my memory. My mother's voice, the numbers glowing on the clock, the click of the door locking behind them, and that haunting theme music from Home Alone. I can't hear it now without getting chills. Back then in the 90s, parents started leaving their kids home alone earlier than they should have. Babysitters weren't an option for most families and life was hard. Getting invited to a party was a big deal. That night, my parents went to a friend's birthday and left me alone for the night. It was maybe the second or third time I'd been left home without them. Before they left, they gave me the usual rules. Don't watch TV too long. Turn off all the lights before bed, except for the little nightlight by my bed. I didn't understand why at the time, but later, I did. And then the most important rule, burned into my brain by my dad's stern eyes. Do not open the door. Ever. Even if someone said they were a child or needed help. Even if it sounded like a friend or family member. Even if it was a woman's voice, crying. Don't open it. He crouched down, looked me in the eye and said, Mark, you're a big boy now. You need to understand responsibility. If the clock hits 12:12 and you're not asleep yet, don't get up. Don't turn on the light. And don't open the door. Promise me. I nodded, confused, but I promised. My dad was a strange man. He had odd rules. Some days I couldn't wear red. Others I wasn't allowed to take a bath. His rules didn't always make sense, but I followed them. Especially the one about 12:12. After they left, I sat quietly listening to the silence. Then I jumped up and turned on every light in the apartment. It felt safer that way. Shadows didn't seem as scary when the whole place was bright. The TV was my lifeline. I curled up on the couch and turned it on. Home Alone was playing, part 1. I knew every line, every trap, every moment Kevin outsmarted those burglars. It used to make me laugh. But that night, it didn't. As I watched, I thought I heard something in the stairwell. Footsteps, or maybe just the wind. Still, a chill ran down my spine. What if my parents never came back? What if something had happened? What if they died? Panic bloomed in my chest. I ran to the phone, climbed onto a stool, and shakily dialed the number they left me. Hello? A man's voice answered, faint, a bit distorted. Hi, this is Mark. Can I speak to my dad? Vladimir Grigorievich? I heard laughter, music, voices in the background. Then my dad answered, Mark, what's wrong, buddy? I just wanted to know when you're coming back. Soon, we'll be home soon. Don't worry. Then I asked him, Dad, do you remember what you said about 12:12? His voice changed, serious. Yes, I remember. Do exactly as I told you. Okay, I whispered. The call ended, but the fear didn't. I returned to the couch and tried to lose myself in the movie again. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Something was close. Suddenly, I heard footsteps in the stairwell, slow, deliberate. Someone was outside my door. I froze. Then a voice, low, muffled, barely a whisper, right at the keyhole. Open! I stopped breathing. It wasn't a command. It was a whisper. A suggestion. A lure. Then silence. I don't remember falling asleep, but I must have. I woke up with the test pattern flashing on the TV screen. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. I looked at the clock, 12:02. 10 minutes until 12:12, I could still get ready for bed. I walked to the bathroom. Yawning, flicked the light on, and splashed water on my face. As I brushed my teeth, I swore I could hear a scratching. I finished quickly, turned off all the lights, and crawled into bed. I pulled the blanket over me like a shield. Knock. A single soft knock. I turned to the clock, 12:12. My body froze. Knock. Harder this time. More urgent. Then, Mark, it's me. Open the door, sweetheart. It was my mother's voice. For a second, my heart flooded with relief. But something was wrong. She wasn't supposed to be back yet. I tiptoed to the door. Mama, I whispered. No answer. I stood on a stool and peeked through the peephole. She was there, but not right. Her face was pale. Her eyes were black, like ink. Her arms hung stiff at her sides and her fingers twitched ever so slightly. Mama, I said again. No movement. Suddenly she tilted her head sharply, unnaturally. Then she glided toward the door without moving her legs. as if pulled by invisible strings. She slammed into it. I screamed and fell off the stool. Another bang, louder, harder. I ran to my room and dove under the covers, shaking, hyperventilating. Then, ring, ring. The phone again. It wouldn't stop. Terrified, I picked it up. Hello? Hi, son, said my dad's voice, only this time it was wrong. Too clear, too calm. You remember what I said, right? Yes. I whimpered. Good boy. Now, don't hang up. First, cover all the mirrors in the house with something black. I froze. He sounded loving, gentle, but also distant, cold. I obeyed. Ran room to room, covering mirrors with shirts, towels, anything dark I could find. Each one felt like it was watching me. When I was done, I whispered into the phone, "All done." "Good," he said. "Now go to the front door and unlock it. Just a little." "What?" I asked, my voice shaking. "Do it." I reached out, turned the lock once. Ah! A breath, not mine. Not from the phone. From the other side. "Open the door, Mark, or they'll die." The voice changed. It wasn't my dad anymore. It was something else. It told me my parents would be tortured, cut open, piece by piece fed to rats, screaming my name while I did nothing. I threw the phone. It hit the ground with a crack, but the voice kept going. Sobbing, I ran to turn on the lights. Nothing. No power, no escape. I saw something in the window. A face, floating, watching. We lived on the 4th floor. I ran, stumbling through the dark. Furniture wasn't where it should be. The walls felt soft, alive. I swore I touched something that breathed. At last I collapsed into my bed, curling up under the covers. Whispers filled the air, scratches beneath the floor. A lullaby of madness. Then the music started again, Home Alone, but warped, slowed, broken. The shadows danced at the edge of my vision. The walls groaned. I screamed and screamed until everything stopped. Silence. I looked at the clock, 12:12. Still. I picked it up. The minute hand hadn't moved. It was stuck. I turned the dial manually. 12:30, 12:45, 1 sega. The noises faded. The whispers died. The light flickered back on. The nightmare receded. The room looked normal again. But it wasn't, not really. Nothing ever was after that night. I sat there wrapped in a blanket waiting until I heard the key in the lock and footsteps behind the door.